Good afternoon, Jerry. My name is Jack Brennan. I work for the Townsville Child Safety Services, and today I have called this meeting to look a bit more into your case and break down the details with you. All right, so a bit more details on what we're going to be doing today. I have made a little presentation to, pick apart the details of your case and to try and educate you about the Queensland laws, as well as hopefully inspire you to take a bit more action and make better decisions in the future. Okay, so this toolkit, as we'll call it, is intended to help give you some support in legal problem solving. This will hopefully break down the processes, the facts, and hopefully teach you how to understand the laws a bit better to provide you with relevant resources and information. Okay, so to the best of my knowledge, you committed the crime because your parents show very little responsibility for you and your brother. And it says here that there's been some pretty bad instances with your home life, some severe abuse from both your mother and father. Anyway, also some reports here about you not attending school for a couple of years. So due to this, I'll try my best to avoid using legal terms and complicated words because I want you to understand me clearly and I want you to get the most out of this session. So moving on, this toolkit has been made to help you by demonstrating the processes of gathering and identifying relevant facts, assist in explaining approaches for identifying issues, to support you in demonstrating processes for researching relevant and up-to-date laws, to give some assistance in helping you apply the law to the facts, and lastly, to help you understand the laws a bit better. So throughout this toolkit, we'll be using the IRAC model to give you a watered down style to help problem solve legal issues such as yours. This model will help you by breaking down the situation. However, first things first, the IRAC model is abbreviated for issue, rule, application, and conclusion. In making the IRAC model, it is important to know that the issue needs to be identified, the relevant and appropriate laws need to be recognized, the rules must be applied to the facts, and the conclusion must be stated. Okay, so the relevant facts which are appropriate to your case include you breaking into a store to steal 30 items, each costing $5. After grabbing what you wanted, you left the store with the stolen goods, returned home, and shared them between you and your brother. Yep. Alright. So in Queensland, the laws which relate to theft fall under the category of offences which connect to property in the Criminal Code 1899. These offences include stealing, obtaining items dishonestly, being given stolen items, and burglary. There are lesser offences such as shoplifting, which includes stealing items worth under a total of $150. These offences are dealt with by the Regulatory Offences Act instead of the Criminal Code. Furthermore, it's important to know that shoplifting offences also include eating and drinking something out of a shop and not paying for it, swapping or removing price tags, etc. If the offence is under a total of $150, then it's usually handled with a fine. However, if the item taken costs more, then the situation will become a stealing offence. Speaking of stealing, it is extremely important, I think, for you to remember the definition of stealing, which includes taking the belongings of another person without their consent and having no intention of giving it back. This includes items from a shop which value more than $150, such as dogs, jewelry, cars, money, or anything of value. It is also important to remember that the punishment for stealing depends on the item or items taken. The most common punishment by law for stealing includes a 5-year sentence. However, this can upgrade to a maximum jail term of 10 years if the person stealing is violence or threatens violence. On another note, burglary is one of the many offences within the criminal code which you committed. This offence occurs when a person enters the property of another person with the intent to commit a crime. Also, it is vital to note that if the offence is committed through break and entering, the maximum penalty rises to life imprisonment. Moving on, you should know that in all cases, no matter the value of the stolen item, offenders will receive an order to appear in court, the magistrate court to be exact, and if found guilty, the result includes a criminal record as well as a punishment. In applying the rules to the facts, you, Jerry, had broken into a market and stolen $150 worth of items, and as mentioned earlier, if the goods stolen value over this amount, then the situation which appears as a shoplifting scenario will then change into a stealing offence. In concluding the hierarch model, we have broken down and repieced the facts of your case, and in doing this, we together have identified where the situation escalated from a shoplifting offence into a stealing offence. And continuing on that topic, instead of committing a crime, you could have contacted the police or child safety services for help with your situation. There were many alternative paths that you could have taken, Jerry, to avoid the situation which occurred. However, you just weren't quite aware at the time of the other outcomes that you could have taken, which is okay. That's why we're here today. Okay, so by breaking, just a bit further on your case, by breaking into the store, Jerry, you breached the break and entering laws within the criminal code. When breaking into the store, you checked all the boxes for what was classified or identified as breaking and entering. For the situation to be identified by police as a break and entering offence, the offender, you, would need to enter the property of another with the intent to commit a crime. The crime being committed is considered criminal, and that the offender had to enter the property through breaking in. Jerry, when you broke in, you ticked all 4 boxes because you broke a window to enter the premises. Then you entered into the property with the intention to steal while having a clue that what you were doing was wrong. But while on that note, you had stolen the items which you had primarily broken into the store for, with the items being worth $150 exactly, in which this was the exact moment your situation became a stealing offence. But already having a 5-year sentence for stealing, the punishment for breaking and entering could vary between probation, a community service order, an intensive corrections order, a fine, and jail time. However, the courts made a probation order a part of your prison sentence, meaning that you are ordered to serve a period of time being no longer than 1 year in prison. I understand you've already been sentenced. However, the intended purpose of this toolkit was to ensure you would learn more about the laws, their penalties, and other outcomes you can choose next time to avoid turning to crime to fix your problems, and to instead think about better alternatives which will still achieve the same results. But if you have any concerns or issues that you're still trying to understand, just give me a call or an email, whatever you prefer.